Welcome to our show tonight. For our inaugural interview, we have none other than the Alpha Wolf himself, Mr. Shane Anderson. Shane is a self-made eight-figure earner. He's an international keynote business speaker, and he's got one hell of a story for us tonight. I'm Sam Cruz, and welcome to Kick-Ass Content for Online Entrepreneurs. It's great to have you here. Tell us a little bit about your journey, how you've got to where you are now and with the Wolfpack and all that sort of stuff.
Thanks, Sam. Mate, no, I appreciate you inviting me on here tonight. It's an exciting time. And
cheers,
mate,
by the way.
Cheers to you too, my
Cheers.
brother. We're actually going to drink this.
We're going to drink
We're
this.
going to have to, I think.
Yep. That's very good.
No props involved
No
on
props
that one.
involved. No smoke and mirrors.
Mate, so it's been an interesting journey for me. I mean, like, just to give you a little background about where I come from is probably, the reason I say this is not to be like every other guy out there that says, I come from a hard luck story, but
Yeah.
I think it's important to know where somebody actually comes from, because that journey is important to understand where they're going and where they end up.
Absolutely.
So for me, Gold Coast born and bred here in Australia, and mother, single mum, dad shot off when I was about 2 years old. So, all the best to him. But the fact is that we did it very hard. We went through housing commission estates, and we went through a lot of poverty when we were young. Well, I say poverty, but since then I've now been to India. I never say that again, because I actually understand what real poverty is, and it's not living in a caravan on the Gold Coast. Apparently that's just called a holiday. So we were on holidays for a long period of time. Okay, and what happened for us was, I learned at a young age two things that I really wanted to be involved in, and that was how to make money.
Yeah.
So at 12 years old, I was in business, doing little odd jobs here and there, trying to earn a bit of money extra. And I was with my mum. She ended up giving birth to my brother at 12, and then 6 years later than that, she actually gave birth to my sister. So there was never a father figure involved in there, but I actually learned at a very early age on how to contribute to a family environment, and also how to protect your own. And I think that's really where the Wolfpack was born.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was about being part of that pack. It was about being part of the tribe. It was being part of something that was a nucleus that you could actually see and feel, and you protected the weak, you protected the young, you protected those around you. And mate, that's where it started from.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it at the time. It manifests itself, 30 years later in my life. But the journey started to evolve from there, and I've done multiple jobs, and one thing led to another. I ended up in business at 18 years old because for me, it was all about being in business for myself. It was about understanding that I was the creator of my destiny, and because I didn't have that father figure around, it was very hard for me to actually take on a role where I was being able to be told something because I wasn't used to it. Yeah. So it created my personality.
Sure.
And away we went. And then all of a sudden, one thing leads to another. And next minute, we're on stage in front of 23,000 people. And you wouldn't have picked that story. In fact, 5 years before even it happened, or 12 months even before it happened, it was just a pipe dream. But this is, I suppose, the power of visualization, the power of goal setting, and the power of actually understanding what you want, and understanding it from a position of your internal being rather than just that external want.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I started off in my own businesses and then ended up in the auto repair industry, fixing hail damaging cars around the world.
Yep.
One thing that actually started to really push for me was this love of travel.
Yes.
See, we used to do hail damaged storms around the planet. So I was working in Germany, I was working in France, I was working in Japan. So I was working at all of these exotic locations, but I wasn't getting to spend any time in them.
Yeah.
I was working 24 hours a day,
fly out,
basically.
basically.
So everybody's seen this amazing lifestyle, but I got a taste of it, but I never got to experience it. So I had this thirst for it. So what happened for me was, once we started to explore the car business, I started to realize at that point that I understood business at a basic level, but I really wanted to take it to the next level. I saw business owners out there and realized that they were doing something different than what I was doing. Like I basically owned a job. If you look at Robert Kiyosaki's 4 quadrants, you see I was in quadrant 2.
Yeah.
I was self-employed. I had my brother working for me. I thought I was doing really well because I had a house and a falcon and, all the rest of it. But realistically, what happened for me was that I was in quadrant 2 and I needed to break out and understand what quadrant 3 was. So I started this search for better mentors. I started this search on this personal development journey.
Yeah.
I got introduced to a lot of top leaders around the world. One of the biggest mentors for me was Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
We went to a Tony Robbins conference. I was blown away at his amount of business intellect, his motivation, his systems. I understood that this guy knew something that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I was hooked. I was transfixed. I was like, I need to know this stuff. And the only way that I get to learn, I was never a book reader or anything like that. I never understood. If you gave me instructions by a paper, I was lost. But if I could watch you do something, man, I could replicate it quick. I was a very visual learner. So for me, I thought straight away, the best way for me to do this is to get in his environment. How do I do that? Well, he ran this thing called a platinum partnership. He had platinum partners around the world. It was very high cost to buy in.
Yeah.
But the beauty of it was that you got proximity to Tony.
Yeah.
So for me, that was paramount. I didn't care what the cost was. I didn't care whether I could afford it. It wasn't about whether I could afford to do it. It was about whether I could afford not to do it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So I just lunged at him. I was like, yep, let's do it. And I remember the first couple of times that they tried to take money out of my account. I didn't even have money in the account. I was scraping money together to try and put it together. And I was so far out of my depth, it wasn't funny. I mean, I literally knew that I was the dumbest guy in the room. I just didn't care because as far as I'm concerned, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room, right?
Yeah.
So I was like,
it's true.
I'm in the right room here because I am literally at the back end of the scale. But the good thing about it is I got access to billionaires, like with a B. Now, I got access to Bill Clinton. I got access to Steve Forbes. I got access to like world leaders, billionaires in their own rights. And I learned. Yeah. And all I did was just absorb. And then I came back to Australia after one of the big trips that we'd been on. And I implemented some of the strategies that I started to learn. Yeah. And I was able to grow the car repair business from a business that was doing about $200,000 a year to $22 million over the next 9 months. Yeah. So what happened was we were doing extraordinary numbers. Yeah. Now, everyone was like, what is happening? Well, I can tell you honestly, what happened was that I unlocked the owner of the business. For the first time ever, I didn't have the restraints in my head. I didn't have the restraints around me as a human that kept me small. Yeah. For the first time ever, I was abundant. Yeah. And because I felt this abundance, because I all of a sudden understood that there was more in the world, and a lot of people are going to watch this and they're going to think, oh, this is all just hocus pocus, right? I can only tell my story. Yes. Right? I can't tell you whether or not it works for everybody. All I can tell you is that every time that we've experienced this with even other people that we coach or teach, they have felt the same thing. Yes. It is an unlocking of everything. And then all of a sudden it just explodes and the business explodes, it goes to new levels and your life transforms into something completely different. And that's honestly what happened, and it happened like that. People think that you need years of therapy, you need years of personal development, you need years of this and that. I can tell you right now, it is a moment in time. Wow. And once that moment in time is reached, once you are ready to transform, once you are ready to transcend to the next version of you, the entire universe shifts so that you get exactly what you want.
Wow. What do you feel are some of the pitfalls that people can fall into or mistakes that they can make where it can leave them sort of stuck in that place?
Sure. Well, first things first. Yep. As I mentioned to you before, the choke point in any business is the owner. Yeah. Right? The choke point in any business is the owner. The only choke point in any business is the owner. And the owner needs to understand that because they will always look for external. They'll always look for staff. They'll look for this. They'll look for that. The market's wrong. There's no one's buying. It's always external. The only choke point in any business is the owner. They need to become more. Right? So when everything starts to go down, when anything starts to go wrong in a business, you need to have a self-reflection moment. And I think that's where we start. From a business point of view, I believe that the most critical component here is that right from day one, the only person that's ever going to change your business for the better or for the worse is the person that stares at you when you brush your teeth in the morning. That's the person. That's the man. That's the woman, whoever it may be. That's the one that has the critical component of control. Now, in saying that, we don't want to create somebody who is a control freak, right? So there is this moment of this flexibility of understanding that the universe is all happening for you as well. We get that, right? So there's this fine balance of allowing the universe to do its thing. And the way we do that, the way a business owner should do that is through visualization. They need to be able to visualize what they want and in ultimate form. So when I say ultimate form, I'm not talking about I want a Mercedes. Okay, that is a vehicle. It's nothing but a thing. Right. What I'm talking about is I want ultimate joy. I want ultimate happiness. I want ultimate contribution. I want to be grateful. I want to appreciate what I have around me. When an owner turns into that, that's when they start to unlock, because then they are grateful. Then they are truly appreciative of what they have around them. The little fine things that they take for granted, the little steps that sometimes go beyond somebody's eyes that they go, oh, well, that was just expected to happen because of this. It's not true. And the moment it's taken away, usually the owner of the business feels this massive hole happen. And that's critical sometimes to the development of a business leader. Because the business leader needs to not only lead with a carrot, but also with a stick. And they have to do that to themselves on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. Let's get on to the Wolf Pack. And the Full Moon Challenge and the Beast Program. So this is something that I've had the pleasure of helping you film.
Let's put it that way. It's
been quite a journey.
Honestly, marriage made it happen.
But it's been an absolute privilege to work with you in a technical capacity to be behind the scenes and helping to sort of put all this together. So for those who don't know anything about the Wolves Pack, why don't you give us a bit of an overview of that?
Okay, sure. So just to touch a little bit more into my story. So I hit $22 million in 9 months.
Wow.
We are living at large. We buy this beautiful beachfront property. I'm buying fast cars and luxury vehicles and boats and jet skis and you name it, right? I'm a boy from the Gold Coast, right? I got a lot of money in my pocket. Trust me, I'm going to burn it up. And I did. Because I thought it was going to last forever. What actually shocked me in this was it didn't. I had a massive amount of issues with the company that I was dealing with. They started dealing with a lot of things that I just didn't feel matched my culture, my integrity. And I had a lot of questions firing off in my head. I had a lot of toxic stuff in my life. I had a lot of things going on. I blew out my weight. I'm now currently at 86 kilograms, but 2 years ago, I was at 146 kilograms, man. I'm not nearly half the man, right? Twice the energy now. So what happened was that my whole life started to explode and expand, and I was doing things wrong because I'd slipped away from that abundance mentality. And I'd slipped into this me mode. Right? I'd slipped into the ego. I'd slipped into the I want
self-indulgence.
Things. Self-indulgence. And my world started to crumble around me. And what happened was that I identified it early. Right? The years of training that I'd done with Tony, the years of training I'd done with other top leaders around the world allowed me to identify what was happening. I just didn't know how to unravel it. So over the course of a while, I started to unravel these pieces because you've got to understand, everybody on this, podcast would understand that your life gets awfully entangled. There's so many different things. It's not like just saying, oh, let's just start again. It's not like that. There's so many moving pieces, and you have to have the ability to not only untangle it, but to let it go.
Yeah.
Your identity is attached to this. This is who you are as a human being. This is people were giving me love online and all of this stuff, and I had to let it go. I had to let it all go.
Yeah.
But the moment I let it go, I hear a saying, that I really love from Dr. Wayne Dyer. It says, the moment you stop struggling to swim, you realize you float. And that was very much a moment for me. It was this moment where I stopped struggling to swim, to try and keep up with the Joneses and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden it was just like, holy smokes, I float.
Yeah.
And because I did do that, I allowed myself to go, now what?
Yeah.
Now, if I was to rewrite history at this point, what would I do? Who would I be? How would I contribute to the world? What would I do to give back and add value? Because I understand that business is all about how much value. You want to earn more money? Add more value.
Yeah.
Right? Very simple. So how do I add value? But not only that, how do I add value while I'm untangling my life and walking through one of the most complex and situationally devastating areas of your life, where every facet of my life was getting pulled apart.
Yeah.
So at that time, we ran this thing called the Full Moon Challenge. We thought, this would be great. We'll run it from full moon to full moon, and we're looking for lone wolves.
Yeah.
What is a lone wolf? It's somebody that's out there beating their path, working a business, feeling like they're out there alone.
Yeah.
And business is a lonely sport.
Yeah, it is.
And it really is, because the more successful you get, the more lonely you get, right? And we try to negate that by just saying, oh, it's business, nothing matters. Look at my car, look at my house. That's a mechanism to almost say, I'm better than what other people are treating me, because what people don't realize is that the CEOs, the head people of businesses, they feel awfully disconnected sometimes.
Yeah.
And what we were looking for was who's out there, who's a disconnected, who's a lone wolf that's looking for a pack.
Yeah.
Because together as a whole, we become more.
Yeah.
Together as a whole, we can start to work on our finances, on our wellness, on our oneness, on our lifestyle. We can push each other to be better. We can push each other to be more. We can push each other to be enough for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we really started to look for those wolves. I thought, best case scenario, we might end up with 100 people in there, right?
Yeah.
So we go, there's probably going to be 15 to 20 people listening to it anyway, right? So let's face it, like half of them are going to be watching just because they're friends and family. You're going to be supportive, so don't worry about it. Like, what could possibly go wrong? We opened the doors. In 12 hours, we had 1,500 people join. Wow. And I was like, man, we've got to come up with some content, right? So all of a sudden, we're like hooking into this content now at this point, and we go live and we do 30 days content. And it was the most liberating experiences of my life, because every day I was speaking from the heart. Every day I was speaking from, so we covered everything from, relationships. We covered everything from businesses. We covered state management. We talked about masculinity and femininity and how that relates to business and everyday life. We covered everything. In fact, that first full moon was such a massive amount of information that most people were just like, I don't even know how to absorb all of this. I'm like, that's usually the problem, right? So I said, look, let's run this again, but let's do this in a different format.
Yeah.
And then, so we thought, okay, we can't possibly match what we did the first time. 1,500 people, that was ridiculous. But let's try, because that was surprising. So I gave it 12 hours. We had 3,600 people join in 12 hours. So there is a thirst out there, man. There is people out. And we had them from 26 countries around the world. We had people from Afghanistan. You were involved, man. You know what I'm talking about. We had people on there.
Group.
Like the first week, I was just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
We had people from Africa and Afghanistan and Iraq. And I remember the young girl from Iraq. It was just like mind-blowing to see how many lives were changing so quickly. Yeah. And we'd only just started. By the time we got through the first, week, it was like all of a sudden there was this energy building.
Yeah.
And then the second week came, and then the third week came, and the stakes from me and you just got higher and higher and higher,
Yeah.
and videos got more in depth,
more elaborate, and it's like the production budget doubled every week.
Oh man, it was just incredible. I remember, like, we did one video, which you would have swore this video was done over a series of weeks with dollies and cameras and film crews. We did that like in 30 minutes just before you picked your son up from school, and it was outstanding. Like, it was a one shot, right? But those things, they are like gold, and we were changing lives with those, Sam. So that the key is this: we had to go, and it exploded.
Yeah.
So we know there's a market. We know that people want to change their lives for the better. We know the four key areas to change that is the wolf: wellness, W; oneness, O; lifestyle, L; and finances.
Yeah.
If we can target those four key areas, one a week, and make a difference, we can create a ripple. This is the way to give back to the world.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited about it, man. You can feel me. I vibrate when I talk about it.
I think one of the biggest aha moments for me in all of that as well was this notion that you were talking about of like holistic success, where it's not just about being wealthy or having a great business going or anything like that, where you're actually looking at it at the whole person, the whole life, and making sure everything's in check. Because otherwise, you, like you said before with your health, you can just blow out in one area and it can all come tumbling down. So.
Or you see it the other way. You see somebody out there that is absolutely on point with their body.
Yeah.
Yet their entire rest of their life is falling over.
Yes.
Right? Or you see somebody out there that's on point with finances. They're a killer in business.
Yeah.
Yet they're a mongrel to their wife
Yeah.
or their husband, and they're terrible to their kids.
Yeah.
They've got no spirituality. They've got no wellness. They've got no nothing. There is no... People hide behind success.
Yes.
And I think that is the critical component, and that was the one thing that I truly learned by going through the journey that I did, is that it doesn't matter how successful in finances you are, or in wellness, or in oneness.
Yep.
And I say oneness in a spirituality sense. Yep. You see people hide behind the Bible or any of the other religious texts, and they don't come out and they don't fix all the other key areas, and they think that that's okay. That is not okay. And they think just because they are successful in one key area that they're successful in all key areas, but they're hiding, mate.
Yeah.
You see them. You see them on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And I think the key here is to understand that to become whole, to become and unlock the power. Because remember when I told you before, the choke point in any business is the owner.
Yeah.
Right? It's the owner in wellness. It's the owner in oneness. It's the owner in their lifestyle, and it's the owner in their finances. Yeah. And once they understand they're the business owner in four key areas, not one, then they unlock themselves. And that's where abundance kicks in. That's where we truly see somebody truly explode and become the natural version of themselves. And when you see it, man, it's spine tingling.
Yeah.
You get goosebumps up the arm, and we watch that on a monthly basis as we do the wolf pack. Yeah. And you understand from full moon to full moon, 30 days seems like a long time, but over a course of a year, it's 1/12.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to invest in yourself, then what are you going to invest in?
Yeah.
But, that's the key. You see people invest in a TV series, and they'll spend 12 weeks watching a TV series, but they won't do 4 weeks on themselves. And I think that's the real trigger to unlocking true potential.
So speaking of the Full Moon Challenge, when is the next one running?
Mate, next one's in January 2019. We are pumped and ready to rock and roll. We've got a brand new format coming in as well, and we've got a whole bunch of new content. And I think the exciting part about that is that as we step into a new year, people are really looking to create a resolution around, what they want to do for the new year. So what we did, Sam, and you helped me with this stuff, is we just filmed a bunch of content. We filmed about 8 videos that we were just going to give away. We just want people to understand who we are, to come in, see us, to resonate, to build rapport with us, and see whether we're the right fit for them, but more importantly, whether they're the right fit for us. And once they absorb that content, and they can do that for nothing, then they can see, okay, well, maybe I want to spend 4 weeks with these guys. Maybe I want to be able to understand more. Maybe I want more in my life. Maybe there's something else out there that I want to trigger.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm built for something different. And when that happens, and mate, it's not going to happen to everybody.
Yeah.
We know that 90% of the people watching this podcast are not the right ones. But they're the ones that are watching, that trigger something, that honestly feel in their guts that they're worth more, that they are enough, that they're ready to take the next step. They're the ones. They're the lone wolves.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling them that the pack's ready.
Yeah.
We're waiting for them.
Mate, thank you so much for your time. And look, it's been a busy shooting schedule and there's lots to get ready for it. So
there is a half a bottle of scotch still to go through as well.
So I appreciate you coming in and being able to just impart your journey and what you've learned along the way. Again, as just free value, just being able to put that out there to the people that are looking for it and that sort of thing. So, mate, thank you very much.
Anytime, brother. Yeah. I mean it, Sam. I love this. I love the podcast. And I love the fact that you're giving something away to somebody just purely from a contribution point of view. And, mate, anytime that I can contribute with you, mate, I'm in. So thank you very much. Cheers to you, my friend.
So, guys, those 8 free videos that Shane was talking to, we're going to put a link to that in the description below this video. So if what you've heard tonight about what Shane's spoken of or the Full Moon Challenge or anything like that, if that's piqued your interest, click that link below and you can go on there right now and you can watch 8 free videos that we filmed and you can check all of that out completely free, obligation free. Just check it out, because if you're the right fit for this, then it's going to be the best thing for you to connect with this, because this program really is amazing and it is changing lives. So thanks from us. We'll see you next time.